As a Star Wars fan, there are a few things I want more in life than a solid Jedi or Sith-fronted game. The Shadow KOTOR still looms heavy on all of us, and I've never forgotten about The Force Unleashed or Jedi Outcast. But in recent years, absolutely nothing. Battlefront 2 doesn't count, I said Jedi-fronted, and that game's not amazing. However, in 2019, Respawn, the people who made Titanfall 2, released a game that did not suck or have the same name as your favorite PS2 classic. In fact, not suck is an understatement. In my opinion, it's the best game that came out that year, and I love Death Stranding, completely unironically. I even loved what I saw of Sekiro, just from afar, because it scares me. Jedi Fallen Order is a melee-based action-adventure game themed after Uncharted, Dark Souls, and I think a little after the aforementioned Force Unleashed. That by itself sounds good, but the sum of its parts is even greater. This game almost makes up for how much Rise of Skywalker sucked. And that's a lot of suck. It's not just one of the best Star Wars games in recent years, this is one of the best Star Wars games ever. It feels like they really respected the franchise I hold so near and dear to my heart. The story didn't blow me away, but I don't hate it. In fact, I love Callum BD-8 so much I want him to be canon. Put him in a movie, screw it. Resurrect Luke Skywalker. My life could end at any moment. Let me die knowing you didn't destroy everything Star Wars stands for. The films are certainly drawn on at times, and you can see the influence from a few of the books as well. They even nailed the sound. I don't think they used John Williams' original scores, but shit feels immensely Star Wars, just like everything else in the game. More so than anything, it feels obvious they drew a lot from the Clone Wars and Rebels TV shows, which makes sense, especially Rebels, considering the time periods line up so closely and they both make use of Inquisitors. I see this as a net positive. Everything in the game feels like it fits tightly into the Filoni-verse, and I don't use that term as a pejorative. Dave Filoni should be steering the entire ship, cowboy hat and all. Everything drips with Lucasfilm-scented atmosphere from the ship/central hub of the game, the Mantis, which by the way is gorgeous, that fin sail thing is too long but I still love it, all the way down to the plants found on each of the planets. Them explorable planets, of which there were too few, were all diverse and gorgeous, and again, Star Wars is all fuck. Maybe some weren't that large, specifically the starter planet, Bogano, but Zepho, my favorite planet, is absolutely mammoth. Each level is a series of interconnected platforms with tons of secrets to find, chests to loot, and obstacles to overcome. These could be enemies, like Ogdo Bogdo, the galactic toad, may he rest in peace, or the obstacle could be something really dangerous, like a ledge with no railing. You just pop right back up though, and it only takes a little bit of health. By the way, Ogdo Bogdo is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. There are some really stupid names in Star Wars, but that sounds like something I would come up with. Exploration through these worlds, while very tough at times, felt rewarding. A little grindy maybe, but the level design is an insane labyrinthian masterwork I barely understand, and it deserves at least my best attempt at traversing it. Some spots are completely inaccessible until you come back with that one power you get way later in the game, which feels really satisfying to come all the way back here and do once. But if you expect me to do it again on New Game Plus, well, I did, and it hurt my soul. That Metroidvania, I did it, I said the gamer word, level design works amazingly well for one very thorough playthrough, but largely kills replay value, and considering how late into the game you might be unlocking aesthetic or practical upgrades, that's frustrating. I know for me, by the time I felt like I had everything I needed to fully explore the galaxy, I was already completely exhausted, and the dangling hot dog of sweet loot chests can only keep me going so far. Getting the Mantis to look just right and finding the perfect outfit are very important, but I found that once you've equipped the correct poncho for you, you never go back. What matters much more to me, however, and I'm assuming you too, is the extent to which we can customize our lightsaber. I was able to make a few combinations I was happy with. You can also change the material it's made from and the color of the blade so it's purple. When you turn it on and off, it sounds like... which is just great. Using that lightsaber to fell enemies isn't completely realistic, and I imagine it wouldn't be as fun of a game if it was. Although, maybe. Instead of being instantly cauterized in half, opponents display a health bar, you do damage over time, you get it. It's better this way. I think. Jedi Fallen Order features the best lightsaber combat since Jedi Academy. Hits feel powerful, swings feel heavy like they looked like they did in the original trilogy, and it's very optically pleasing. So glow, such saber. I normally don't love a really interwoven parry system in games because I usually suck at it, but the window for parrying an enemy attack on medium difficulty is pretty generous and just feels like such a Jedi thing to do. This really shines when you're deflecting blaster bolts back at enemies' faces, watching them die in terror and disbelief. That right there might just be the best part of combat. Beautiful. Guy shoots you, you deflect it, kills him. So simple, yet so much we can learn from this game of give and take. Toss the ball, little Johnny. Good catch. Second place in the most fun ways to murder a Stormtrooper awards is pushing him off of shit. Anytime an enemy can be pushed off of some shit, regardless of how inconvenient it may be, I try to do it. I know force powers like this aren't specific to Star Wars. Control did some great things with telekinesis, and in Jedi Fallen Order, the force push and pull feel very similar to how grab felt in that game. Just maybe very slightly worse, which is still excellent. There are a lot of other less combat-specific powers. Wall running in particular is a really fun standout, and I got to learn how to do it in Gojo Satoru's domain expansion. So that happened and was dope. The semi-platform-like sections where we utilize these abilities are a lot of fun to go through when they work smoothly, and frustrating as hell when they don't. I've gone flying off of more slidey hallways than I can count. Sometimes it feels like I do nothing and it just glides me where I need to go, and other times I feel challenged. But not all the time. Most of the challenge in this game comes from the combat. The great and venerable Tim Rogers once referred to something, I think it was this game, as kindergarten Dark Souls, and I thought about that a lot over the course of my 1,000 deaths. For me, normal difficulty was pretty tough. It gets a lot easier as time goes on, but even on my third playthrough, some boss battles were humiliating. It's wonderful. I still have a hard time believing we got a single-player, narrative-driven Star Wars game that takes combat this seriously. Is that narrative perfect? God knows, sweet child, but it has heart, it has awkward dialogue and endearing characters. Sure, it's a little goofy, but it handles everything with obvious love and care. I could make an entire video just based on how good one flashback sequence is because they treat it with the appropriate reverence. There was so much here to love. It wasn't just good for a Star Wars game, it was great by its own merits. It was fun, it was nostalgic, it was fulfilling, and most of all, it gave me hope for the future of Star Wars games. Not just because they're free from EA's money-grubbing clutches, that's crazy too, but because Respawn nailed this game so hard. I would do gross shit for a sequel. If we don't see Cal in BD-8 again, I will be extremely dissatisfied. I loved this rendition of the galaxy, and I'm very grateful for the time I spent in it. If anything, I just wish it was longer and we got some substantial DLC. While playing this game, I was reminded of something very important that we can all forget during our day-to-day rat race. That sometimes in this life, the best poncho is wearing no poncho at all. Overall, Jedi Fallen Order makes me feel like a Jedi roaming the galaxy on an adventure in a linear video game on my PS4 or maybe your Xbox or computer or something. It was really fun to play. Star Wars is and always has been something I care a lot about, and in the future I want as many Star Wars games of remotely passable quality as we can get. Ever since I was a kid playing with toy lightsabers in the woods, I've dreamed of what the perfect Star Wars video game would be, and I feel very fortunate to live in a time where games like this exist, about such cool, specific, nerdy topics. That's not to say that this game is perfect, or that I'm some type of nerd. I'm not sitting around playing World of Warcraft with my friends all day. Instead, I'm playing single-player games alone.